Have you ever had a moment, maybe in the shower, maybe out in nature, maybe in that quiet space just before you fall asleep, where you felt something bigger than your everyday self? A sense of expansiveness, of knowing, of peace that had no reason to be there, and yet it was. That wasn't your imagination, that was your higher self. And today, we're going to talk about how to stop waiting for those fleeting glimpses and start living from that place every single day. I'm Alicia, and welcome back to Self Love First, a space for heart centered living, real transformation, and becoming who you were always meant to be. If you're new here, I'm so glad that you found your way. Make sure you hit the like button. It's a free and easy way to support my channel, and it helps tremendously. And subscribe so you don't miss a new video each week. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what your higher self actually is beyond the spiritual buzzwords, and why so many of us feel cut off from it. And then I'm going to share something really powerful. It's a process called MAP, Make Anything Possible, that literally rewires the brain so that connecting to your higher self isn't just possible, it becomes your new normal. What is your higher self, really? Let's start by getting really honest about what the higher self is and what it's not. Your higher self is not some distant, otherworldly figure floating above the clouds. It's not a reward that you receive after years of meditation or spiritual practice. And it's definitely not reserved for people who have it all figured out. Your higher self is the most authentic version of you. It's the part of you that exists beneath the conditioning, beneath the fear, beneath all the stories that you've been told about who you are and what you're capable of. So think of it this way. Imagine a clear, still lake. And that lake, in its natural state, it reflects the sky perfectly. It's peaceful, it's luminous, and it's full of depth. That's your higher self. But life throws rocks into that lake. Trauma, criticism, loss, heartbreak, fear. And those rocks create ripples. And over time, the surface becomes so disturbed that you can't see the reflection anymore. You forget that beneath all of those ripples, the lake is still there, still clear, still peaceful, still you. The spiritual journey and the healing journey is really just the process of allowing those ripples to settle. So, why do we feel disconnected? Let's discuss the neuroscience of separation. Why do so many of us feel so far from this place? Why can we taste it in meditation and then lose it the moment life gets hard? Here's what science tells us. When we experience stress, fear, or unresolved trauma, even the old unconscious stuff from childhood, our nervous system responds as if we are still in that same danger. The brain's threat detection system stays on high alert. And here's the key. You cannot access your higher self from a state of threat. When your nervous system is dysregulated, You are biologically wired to survive, not to expand, not to create, not to connect to something greater. This is why willpower alone doesn't work. This is why positive affirmations sometimes feel hollow. This is why you can know intellectually that you are worthy and loved and capable and still not feel it in your bones. The blocks aren't in your mind, they're stored in your nervous system. And the good news is that the nervous system can be rewired. And modern neuroscience has shown us exactly how. MAP is the bridge between who you are and who you're meant to be. This brings me to something that I have to share with you because it genuinely changed everything for me and for the clients that I work with. MAP is one of the most powerful tools I have ever encountered for creating real, lasting change. Not just emotionally, but measurably in the brain. MAP is a cutting-edge, neuroscience-validated method that produces measurable results in the brain within minutes sometimes. It works by training the brain to find and neutralize unconscious blocks, negative memories, and emotional residue that keeps us feeling stuck without requiring you to talk through all the painful stories or understand why a block even exists. So let me say that again, because I know how profound it is. You don't have to relive your past to heal it. MAP leverages a groundbreaking neuroscience discovery called the Window of Reconsolidation. And here's what that means in plain language. Every time the brain recalls a memory, there's a brief window, a small opening where that memory becomes malleable, where it can be updated, neutralized, released. MAP works with that window. So instead of your nervous system replaying old fear, old shame, old limitation on a loop, it gets a new instruction, a new story. And that change can happen in seconds. So what does this have to do with your higher self? Everything. Remember the lake? MAP helps settle those ripples. It clears the unconscious blocks, the fear, the trauma, the self-sabotage, the limiting beliefs that have been keeping that surface disturbed, if you will. And as those blocks dissolve, something extraordinary happens. You begin to feel more like yourself, more open, more clear, more connected to that quiet, wise, expansive part of you that has always been there. I've watched people walk into a MAP session feeling heavy, disconnected, anxious, and walk out feeling lighter than they have in years. Not because I did something to them, because their own brain finally got to let go. And I'm just guiding the process. Most people experience a measurable, positive change during every session. This isn't something that you have to take on faith. You feel it. You notice it. The shifts are real. And here's what makes MAP truly special. It isn't just the biggest breakthrough since tapping or NLP. It's a bridge between the person that you've been conditioned to be and the person your higher self has always known that you are. Whether you're ready to explore MAP or not, I want to leave you with 3 practices that you can bring into your life today to begin deepening your connection to your higher self. So, number 1 is create a daily stillness practice. This doesn't have to be a 45-minute meditation. It can be 5 minutes of just sitting quietly with your hand on your heart and simply asking, what do I know to be true right now? Your higher self communicates in the language of quiet, so give it space to speak. Number 2, notice your energy, not just your thoughts. Your higher self speaks through your body, your sensations. When something feels expansive, light, aligned, that's a signal. When something feels contracted, heavy, or off, that's a sign too. Start paying attention. Your body is like a compass. Number 3, be willing to release what isn't yours. So much of the noise between you and your higher self is conditioning that was never really yours to begin with. Other people's fears, other people's definitions of who you should be. If you can begin to gently ask, is this actually mine? You begin to create space for what is actually yours. And if you feel like the blocks run deeper, and if you've tried all the practices and still feel like something is in the way, that's not a failure. That's just a nervous system that needs a different kind of support. And that's exactly what MAP is for. You were never separate from this. You were never truly separate from your higher self. It has always been there. Through every hard season, every moment of doubt, every time you looked in the mirror and couldn't find the person that you knew that you were meant to be, that deeper knowing was still there. The work isn't about becoming something new. It's about remembrance. It's about clearing what has accumulated. It's about coming home to yourself. And I believe with everything in me that you are absolutely capable of just that. Not someday, but now. If today's video touched something in you and you want to explore what it would look like to clear those deeper blocks through MAP, I'd love to connect with you. The link to work with me is in the description below. I also have a free downloadable manifestation journal to have fun with, and an online course called the Embodied Manifestation Toolkit. And if this resonated, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. You know, we never know whose ripples you might be settling today. Leave a comment on how you try to connect to and communicate with your higher self. I'd love to hear it. Until next time, keep your heart open. And as always, self-love first, always. Have a wonderful rest of your day, my friends, and I will see you next week. Have a good day. Take care.